Okay, so welcome my next example here. Again, we're working with HTML. We're going to create some web pages today and work with our editor, work with our FTP tool, all that stuff. So some of it's going to be a little redundant, but I think it might be helpful to see this a second time. So I have, I got my organization here, and I have in my Unit 2 folder, I'm going to create another example in here, just show you before and after. Okay, so I'll close that off, and then in my little portable apps folder, I have my portable apps I've downloaded, including FileZilla and Notepad++, and I'm going to open up Notepad++, but I already have it opened up over here in another window. So I'll bring that up and just start a new file. This is just says new file 2, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a save as here, and I know that just went right off the screen here. We'll go ahead and save it here, and I'll make sure I might need to navigate over my desktop and over to Unit 2, and then this is going to be called example 2.htm. Okay, and with this I'm also going to pull in and just remind you in Moodle, and this is under lesson 2.5 here. I did put in this little lesson book we have here, I have a HTML template. I'll pull that up here, and as you read through this, this really has the stuff that you need to start your web page with, and rather than just keep generating it over and over again, one of the things I could do is I can copy it out of here, minimize it, and just do a paste. Okay, and then here's all my code, and this is everything I'm going to need to start a new HTML document. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do a save here. And I'm going to do a save as, and I'm going to create something else here. I'm just going to create a template. Okay, how about that for a constructive idea? And anytime I want to generate a new HTML file, this is what I always start with. I'll take the template, make a copy of it, and then that's how I will do my web development from here on out. Right? Okay, that makes sense. Believe. All right, so I have put some other code in here. One of the tags I want to introduce to you, I think I mentioned a little bit somewhere in the lesson here, are comments. Okay, so we have a little place here to put comments. We always start comments with, here's the bracket again, so we get the bracket going, exclamation point, couple dashes, and then we close it with a couple dashes and another bracket. All right, and inside you can put whatever you want. What's nice, we have remember we set our language settings, set them to HTML, and then it kind of highlights all the different colors for us, and also has this nice collapsing, you see I can collapse that? That's pretty cool. And then I can change this for whatever it is I'm working with, so I'll kind of put my name in here for, oh, that's my template. I want to close that one off. And I'll say yes, and then I'm going to open my example 2 here that I started. Okay, alright, so here's what I'll put my name in here, and I will excuse my phone ringing there, we'll just mute that out for the time being. Alright, and then I'll go ahead and put in, this is going to be an assignment, but we'll just put example 2, and then we put a date in, etc., etc. Okay, remember the title section? This is what shows up when we put something in the web browser as well. I'll show you where that shows up. I'll put this as being example 2. Let me save this now. And that's all we'll see is the title in there. I'll show you a couple more tools here. Let me open up the folder here. And I'm going to run this, but I'm going to do, I hope you can see that. Let me try and scoot this over a little bit so you'd see it. If I right click instead of double click on this, I get this little dialog box, and then when I say open with, and boy, I'm running out of screen space here, let me squeeze a little more. Okay, and I can say open with, and I could choose whatever tool I want to open them up with, and so I'm going to choose Firefox here. I'll open this up with Firefox. Alright, and you'll see I have a blank page here, of course, I haven't put anything in it, but you see right here on the tab it says example 2. Alright, and if I go back over to my HTML code, that's because I put the title in there. Alright, so far so good here. Alright, let's move on to some more code here. Alright, and I'm gonna use the header here, H1. And my header here, I'm just going to put example 2. And I'll close that header off. Alright, and I'm going to do my save. Remember, Control S to save. And I can go back over to my web browser and I hit my refresh right here. Alright, or I hit F5 on my keyboard, so I'll refresh. And there it is. There's my header 2, or header 1, I guess. And so let's keep developing this example. We'll get down below that. I'm going to say this example shows the use of some simple HTML tags. Again, I can save, Control S. I actually get pretty quick at this, and then F5, and then I can, display it there. All right. So let me just show you a couple more tags here. Let's say we want to take HTML. We want to boldface that. I could put the bold tag in. Bold, actually, I think it's B. Gosh, is that a mental lapse there? Is it B or is it bold? And again, I can always look that up. All right. So I could go Control Save, and I hit F5. Okay, now that's boldface. Then the other interesting thing with HTML too. Suppose I want to go down a line. Okay. Down here to body, I want to put put my name in here. Maybe just identify it. And maybe I'll put the date here. We'll put September 2021, 22. Okay, it's not really that, but that's what we'll make up a date down in the future here. And I refresh here, and now I want to get the text to drop down. Remember, I got to do a carriage return with that. Okay, so I do a break. I can do that here. So I put in, and this is a singleton tag. Okay, you read about that in your text. Alright, so see how it differs a little bit? Okay, my singleton tag, look at the structure of my break versus when I close the tag over here. Singleton tag, we put the tag name there, and then a /. Okay, and we'll make one more singleton tag here, one more break. Okay. The other really common singleton tag, which we'll cover in our lesson, is the image, to make an image display. Alright, so we'll hit this F5 again, and then that knocks it down the way we want it to look. Alright, so a couple other things I'd like to show you here. We're going to talk about troubleshooting here. One of the tools I have in Firefox, and every web browser has this, but over in the tools it has a web developer tool. It allows me to look at the page source. Do you see that? Alright, and then that pulls up a window, and it's not a window I can edit. Let's slide over here so you can see it. But you can see there is the source code, alright, for my HTML. It's really helpful for troubleshooting because you see the colors here can show me where I might have potential problems. Alright. Other thing I could do, if I want to see how somebody else does their web page, I see a nice idea out there that I kind of like. Pull up another tab here. Let's say I go to you can find a lot of code here that you're not going to recognize, but I say, oh, I like this website here. I'd like to learn more about the code behind it. I can go to Tools, Web Developer, and go to my page source. Alright, and here is the HTML source code for the University of Montana main page, default page. Okay, so that's kind of a cool little tool for us too. Alright, again, I found under Tools and Web Developer, and then Page Source. Alright, so that might be something you can utilize as well. I'll get rid of that for right now. Alright, another posting that I left for you in Moodle here, and it's referenced in your textbook too. By the way, your textbook has an appendix, and I'll just kind of highlight this too. Appendix A has just a nice short little summary of all the HTML codes out there. And then this site here is just an awesome site. This w3schools.com. I use this a ton. And it has tutorials here on HTML, HTML5, CSS, JavaScript. We're going to do a unit on JavaScript, some SQL, PHP. It's really a rich website. And again, I'm kind of shrunken down here, but one of the things I really like about it is their little search tool. If I can't remember how to, boldface type, I can hit bold, and hopefully, okay, here's the JavaScript bold method. But here's text formatting, okay, for HTML, which references what we're looking at here, okay. So and then you can look it up. They usually have this little try it yourself site as well. So if you want to, play with text formatting, you can go over here, and it's actually like I guess you call it a sandbox here, okay, where I can try my different fonts. So I can actually go in here and I can change something, change this to H1, and I can edit and see how it's a nice interactive place for me to try different HTML codes and kind of play with it. Okay, so anytime you have something that you don't know how to do, this is a really great site. I use this a ton, I really do. In fact, when you Google different HTML commands, it usually points you to this site. Okay, so keep this in mind. Get stuck on something, especially being online and at home, go look it up. All right. So there's a couple other tools. One last tool I'll show you, which is referenced in your textbook too, is what's known as a validator. And I believe I left a link for this in Moodle, but the W3, which is World Wide Web 3 organization, has a validating tool, and I'll show you how that works. And the URL is validator.w3.org, and this allows you to check to see whether or not you have written a valid web page. In other words, it might display properly, but do you have other errors that are not obvious, I guess. So you can go ahead and put a URL in there and have it validate the URL document online. You can upload a file from your local machine to validate it, or you can use this last method, which they call validate by direct input. Okay, so let me pull up my file here. Okay, so what I can do with my file here, let's take the whole thing. I'll do a Control All, okay, Control A, Control C for copy, and I'll go back over here and let me put it in the validator. I just copy all that code in there, and I'm going to say check it. And it found a whole bunch of errors in there. How about that? 5 errors, 1 warning. So what did I do? Mine seems to display correctly, but what do I have going on here? Okay, so I got some character data, that's not appropriately formatted, and you can read through. I got the B inappropriately set up. Wow, I got lots of things that you look at here. All right, and even though my web page is displaying properly, I'm missing some things. Okay, so let me go over and I'll fill in the blanks here. Okay, so really right here I should have the start of a new paragraph, indicating that this is all new paragraph, and then I should probably close that. And assuming that I'll have some improvement there. So go back over my validator again, hit the back button, go through and validate. Let's see if it turns out a little better here. Okay, validators always say, hey, I passed, but I had one little warning here, and so I had just one little mistake in that, and it wasn't necessarily a syntactical mistake. Well, it was a syntactical mistake, but it didn't show up when I displayed my web page. Okay, so that's a validator service. Again, it's a nice way to kind of check for errors, because it points right to the line where the error is as well.